Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhritavigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam तं Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namama Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagatgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Surai Satchid Sukhaswarupaya Swami Tapaharini. So now we will continue with our study of Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga. We were in the chapter, each is great in his own place. And the portions which we have read and discussed. So there will be a continuation of idea in these succeeding paragraphs. So we will just go directly to the text and continue our discussion. We will just take up the discussion from where we have ended in the last class and just continue with our discussion, which you will find has the link, continuation of ideas, what we have already discussed in the last class. So I'm going to share the screen so that you can also refer to the text. So from this paragraph, we are going to start. In reading the Bhagavad Gita, many of you in Western countries may have felt astonished at the second chapter, wherein Sri Krishna calls Arjuna a hypocrite and a coward because of his refusal to fight or offer resistance on account of his adversaries being his friends and relatives, making the plea that non-resistance was the highest ideal of love. So we, all who have studied the Bhagavad Gita, we know that it starts in the context where Arjuna himself have insisted Krishna to be in the midst of the battlefield with the full confidence that he is going to overpower the enemies who represents the evil force. But when he is in the battlefield and he just wants to have a look of who are his enemies, we find that he's getting unnerved. Why? Because the enemies are his teachers, are his relatives, are his elders to whom he revered. And now he doesn't have the strength because of this overwhelming emotion to face this challenge, which he knew intellectually. He knew what he's going to face, but when he's in the physical presence of all those people in the battlefield, he feels totally unplugged, unnerved. And now he starts speaking of non-resistance, that he's ready to even just retreat from the battlefield and take the life of a recluse. So we all know that the context in which the Bhagavad Gita starts. And there we find that instead of appreciating Arjuna, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is admonishing in a very strong language, as has been indicated by Swamiji in this paragraph. You will find in the Bhagavad Gita, which he is actually referring to one of the slokas of Bhagavad Gita in the very second chapter. Klaivyang masmah gamah partha na etatvai upapadyate kshudram hridaya daurvalyam tyaktva uttishta parantapa. So don't yield to unmanliness, O Partha. It does not befit you. Shake off this petty faint-heartedness and arise, O scorcher of your enemy. So Swami Vivekananda is referring to that sloka. And he's just saying that Sri Krishna is admonishing Arjuna. Why? You'll find that there's reference to the idea is there elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita. It is also interspersed with the idea that seek not, avoid not. That as per the situation in life, you are placed in certain situation where, as per your tendencies, as per your temperament, as per the faculties with which you are being endowed, you have to take care of certain responsibilities at the for the time being, till you evolve spiritually to the state where really you can practice non-resistance. As in the last class we were indicating that the non-resistance is of course the highest ideal, but we have to evolve to it to really practice it. If we have a sense of resistance within and outside, we try to pose that we don't want any violence, we will be constantly befooling ourselves. So that's in no way going to help us to evolve spiritually. So this is the idea in the Bhagavad Gita we find is mentioned in some other slokas. The Bhagavan is saying, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidye Akartaram Avyayam. So, according to the three modes of material nature, what are the three modes with which this chapter started, the discussion started? Sattva, Raja, Tama. So we all, as per the preponderance of any of these gunas, we may be sattvic, we may be rajasic, we may be tamasic by nature. And the work ascribed to them, as per our nature, the work is ascribed. Like you will find in any society, not only in the Vedic society, there are four types of people: the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. It doesn't imply only to the Vedic society. Anywhere, even in Australia, where we are, where we have nothing to do with the Vedic concept. But you will find, after all, this is the fourth class exists in any society. Who are the Brahmins? Here also, those who are related with the education in the academic fields, the professors, the researchers, all the universities, those who are the students there. You can say them to be the class which represents the Brahmins, those who are culturing their knowledge. They are the Brahmins. Who are the Kshatriyas? The federal government with his army is there to protect the country from any sort of invasion. They're the Kshatriyas. To a certain extent, even the local government with its police force are the Kshatriyas, is always there to take care of the domestic any sort of insurgents, as well as any type of attack which may happen from the overseas. So these governments are the Kshatriyas. For the Vaisyas, of course, it's the business class. The entire the finance is being managed, in the entire country's finance, economy is managed by the business, the corporate world. There's the Vaishyas. Who are the Shudras? You may say now there is no slavery, but you will be astonished to know the Sudras are, as per the work is ascribed, the local councils. You will say, how? Yes, to maintain your road, to keep your sewerage system clean, and to maintain the cleanliness of your local parks. These all work every day, that the garbage which is cleaned, you keep the garbage bins outside, is the council's duty to clean off all those things. So the local council is doing the function of the Shudra. Not a single of them, of this work, is something higher or lower. As per our responsibilities, we are taking care. Can you just say that any society is there which doesn't have this four class? It is bound to be there. For the working of the society, these four classes are there. And as per the work which has been ascribed to me, I have to take it that what as a sense of yajna, that it is something which speaks of a teamwork. We all together perform our work. The work which has been ascribed to me is a part of the teamwork with which we are maintaining the social order. So now, the one who is ascribed to do the work of cleaning, the garbage cleaning, in the morning he wakes up and says, no, I feel like meditating. So this is the highest thing which we have to do. So I am not bothered about the work. So is it in any way something which is preferable? No. So that my ideal, whatever it may be, I have to follow that ideal by conforming to the state of my existence in this society. I should have conformed to that. With that, my spiritual practice should go on. The more we are aware of the fact that spiritual life speaks of our orientation, not the thing which we are doing. It speaks of our orientation, the how we are oriented, how mentally we are oriented. That speaks of our spirituality, not what actually I am doing. So whatever I may be doing, with that I may still be spiritually oriented if my mental orientation is proper. So that's the idea which we find that God is saying, Bhagavan is saying, Chatur Varnyam Maya system, I have created for the maintenance of the society, for the working of the society as a whole. He has created these four varnas as per the division of the guna and karma, each as per the temperament. Now in the society we find what's the difference between the post-Vedic society and the present society. You will find even in the Vedas, in the time of the Vedas, there is no mention of, see in the Bhagavad Gita, the words are very important, guna karma vibhagasha. There is no mention of your caste as per your birth, as per your guna, as per your temperament, as per the karma, as per your temperament, you have chosen a particular type of work. So now the God has given you a particular temperament. Accordingly, you choose a particular vocation. There is no question of division as per your birth. This caste became crystallized much later. You will find in the Vedic age, even in the Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned this guna karma vibhagasha is as per the guna, as per your disposition. The work is divided, and so we are such oriented that there are four types of distinctions in any society. And as per that, I have to work with what type of attitude? The way God himself is working, without any sense of attachment. That this work is maintenance, is having a higher purpose to sustain the creation, God's creation. Why the God's creation is there? God knows best. I am a part of it to sustain that he has created. If I don't give importance to my individuality, which is a false, erroneous idea, that I'm a part of a bigger plan. This so-called I is a part of the bigger plan. It has to flow as per the plan. I don't decide my course of life by giving too much importance to my sense of ego, because itself false. But what happens in the spiritual life, the biggest problem, constantly we think it is I who have to be free. Very interesting, when someone went to Ramakrishna and asked, when shall I be free? The Ramakrishna's answer was wonderful. He told, when I cease to be. What happens, the biggest paradox in our spiritual life, constantly we feel that the situation is such which is not allowing me to emancipate, is just to transcend it. And constantly struggling. Who is struggling? The I is struggling, isn't it? That I itself is erroneous. And that's the biggest paradox. I, in the name of freeing myself, actually I am creating a more bondage by ascribing reality to that I, which is itself erroneous, which itself is wrong. I'm ascribing the reality to that I and saying that I want to be free. Actually, The real sense of spirituality is that I, whatever the body mind complex is going through as per its sense responsibilities, I actually, the real I is not that. As per the flow, it is in certain state, I am detached to it. So God says very nicely that though and although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So the real me is the undoer, the unchangeable, like God, which is in you, which is in me. It is in no way affected by the things which are happening. So let it happen the way the body mind complex is going through that. When, because of the situation, I feel that it's something which is creating discomfort in me, it is creating a struggle in me, I forget that the struggle is with your association with the psychophysical complex. As such, you are never affected. You're never affected. As the real you is never affected, whatever things are going on, that's a mere projection. The real you is not affected in any way. The real spiritual practice is to disassociate yourself with that limited sense of I and allow the body mind complex to go on with all the responsibilities it is placed in as per the divine will. Just the example which we gave again and again. As a parent, the love which I feel for the child, is it I who really love? You will find that it is actually God who has oriented us. We cannot help. That love has been implanted in my heart by God to take care of his creation. Even if I want, I cannot hate my child. There is no question of ego. God has implanted that love in your heart to take care of your child. So you are just the channel of God's working, nothing else. So here, in no way the ego should come. If the ego comes, then what happens? You feel I love the child, and then any sort of untoward behavior from the child hurts me because I felt I love the child, and now it hurts me. If I knew that love was there for God to take care of his creation, I am just a mere channel. There wouldn't have been any expectation. I would have just simply resigned to the divine, just the way Ramakrishnananda used to say. When someone told you have done so much of work in South India, one single-handedly he established so many centers. The Ramakrishna movement in the total South came out because of Ramakrishnananda. If you go to South, you will find how he is revered, that Ramakrishnananda. Even his place is almost equal to Swamiji and Ramakrishna, the way they revere him, Ramakrishnananda. What an intense life he led there. And when someone asked him, how is it possible for you to take care of so much of responsibilities? How can you work so much? How nicely he used to reply, I am just the pain in the hand of the author. Does the pain says ever that I have written so many books? It's the author who is writing. I'm just the pain in his hand. If this is the attitude, that is the idea of Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. If we don't understand the scripture in the proper sense, what happens? I will think, oh, God has told to renounce all my dharmas and just take recourse to him. What we will understand, oh, I have no responsibilities, just I renounce all and just take the responsibility and just think of God. That's not the real meaning. Then what is the otherwise? What was the use of discussing of karma and all in the previous chapters? If we really understand the Gita and connect all his words, just don't take out one part of the scripture and keep it under my arm and just have a dance which is not complete. Sri Ramakrishna used to say a very nice story that what happens with us when we study the scriptures. What happens is something is really very, very tragic, but he is speaking in a way which will really make you feel that it is something very, very funny. What he's saying, that is the story of two weavers. Very interesting story. The two weavers were friends, but for a long time they haven't met each other. So though they are the ladies, they are the weavers, and they haven't met long time. So suddenly one weaver appeared and knocked the door of the other weaver. The other weaver opened and she was really had a very pleasant surprise. Oh, my friend is here after such a long time. And she was really overjoyed. And she called her inside, welcomed her, and just started having a nice chit chat after such a long time. And then the host weaver told that after such a long time you have came, why not have some refreshments? Please have some refreshments. So the other weaver, the guest agreed. The guest weaver agreed to have some refreshment. So the host weaver went inside to prepare for some refreshments. Now, as both of them were weaver, the guest, she saw that the host weaver was already working with the yarns. There were a lot of cotton yarns, very colorful ones, all lying around. She was working with them. She was weaving something. Now, as she is also a weaver, a particular color was something which lured her. She got tempted to get it. So what she did, suddenly she picked up that cotton ball and kept it under her armpit, have hidden it. It was an act of theft. And now the host weaver came with a plate of refreshments, placed it before the guest weaver. When the guest weaver was having the refreshments, the host weaver realized that one of the yarn ball is missing. And she was a bit surprised. She looked at her guest and understood what has happened. By seeing the way she's pressing her arms very tightly, one of the armpit, she is pressed very tightly, she understood what has happened. Now she never wants to just get away, allow the guest to get away with that yarn. So she just devised a plan how to get it back. So when the refreshment was over, now the host weaver, now just told, see, after such a long time you have arrived. I'm so elated, I'm so ecstatic, I'm feeling like dancing with you. To just celebrate this occasion, I want to dance with you. Come, let us dance. And the guest was really now perplexed. He knows that it's almost impossible to dance with the yarn under the armpit. But as the host was insisting, at last she had to yield. The dance started. The host was free with both the hands to be upraised. So with both the arms upraised, she was dancing freely. And what happened with the guest? Now she cannot upraise both the arms, with one arm pressed. And she raised one of the arms and she was dancing. And now, seeing that queer way of dancing, the host just commented, is it a dance? Is this the way to dance? Just see how freely I am dancing with both the arms upraised. And the guest replied, Je Jamon Jane Ben. In the words of Ramakrishna in Bengali, he's saying in his very colloquial Bengali that as one knows, oh my friend, I do not know to dance with both the arms upraised. I know to dance just this way, the way I'm dancing. So please allow me to dance the way I know. So after saying this story, Ramakrishna says that if you pick up a particular message of the scripture as per your liking, leaving out the scripture as a whole, it is just like picking up a particular yarn ball and just pressing it under your arm, then your dance will never be complete. You can never dance freely with both the arms upraised. It will be the dance like the guest with one arm pressed under, that yarn pin pressed under the armpit. She cannot dance freely. So that happens when we take up the scripture, a particular message, and put it on the armpit. Oh, God has said, leave all your responsibilities and just resign to me, forgetting the previous chapters with which we have to connect that message. Then we will be doing a big blunder. So they will find throughout the Gita, this idea is there, that there is a higher purpose. This little sense of I, which I have, is out of the ignorance. God's creation is going on as per the higher purpose. The real me in me is God. He is playing with his creation. He is going on with a wonderful game of the creation of which I have no idea. I'm just a part of it. I'm really happy. I have to be happy with that sense of I should be happy that God has given me that sense of I to be his mate, to be his mate, to be his friend. That this is a game in which I am taking part. I am a mate of the divine. I am a sakha. That the word sakha, so much time the Krishna is again and again indicating, is just addressing Arjuna by that word. We are the sakha of God. Arjuna represents us. We are his sakha. We have to take part in the divine game without that sense of ego. Just as a role we are supposed to play, let us go on playing that role with a detached sense of this false I. And that entails the real liberation. Liberation is never will come if I give importance to that I which I feel, and all the pleasures and pains which are associated with that I, and try to think that getting rid of all the so-called apparent sufferings of life by taking the I in such a situation where I am seeking, in the name of renunciation, I am actually seeking a comfort zone. You will find at last that can never lead us to the real liberation. So with this idea, you will find that again, we read this paragraph in reading the Bhagavad Gita. Many of you in the Western countries may have felt astonished at the second chapter, wherein Sri Krishna calls Arjuna a hypocrite and a coward because of his refusal to fight or offer resistance on account of his adversaries being his friends and relatives, making the plea that non-resistance was the highest ideal of love. This is the great lesson for us all to learn, that in all matters, the two extremes are alike. This is an example Swamiji brings again and again. Let us read it, and then we will have a short discussion. The example is given in such a way, it doesn't need much explanation. First, let us read it. The extreme positive and the extreme negative are always similar. When the vibrations of light are too slow, we do not see them, nor do we see them when they are too rapid. We all know the infrared light we cannot see, ultraviolet light we cannot see. Our vision is restricted within the vibgyor. The world is more colorful. Our eyes doesn't have the capacity to see all those colors. If any light wavelength is below the red, there are animals who sees that, all the nocturnal animals. If you go to any zoo where the nocturnal animals are kept, you will find that. You will find the entire room is dark, and where those animals are kept, there is a red light. You may just imagine, you may just think why that red light is there. Because that's the only wavelength where their vision and our vision conforms. They cannot see above red. They're almost blind in the daytime. The nocturnal animals hide themselves in the daytime because they see nothing. For them, the day is totally dark. The red is the only frequency where our vision and their vision meet. So that's why they've kept that. In the zoo, their purpose is to exhibit those animals. So you will find in the dark room, in any zoo you go, where the nocturnal animals are kept, you will find that the entire room is dark, and within the cage or the glass case where those animals are there, you will find a dim red light is there, where that light enables them to come out because they have the vision for that light, and you can also see them. So that speaks that we as a human don't have the faculty to see below red. That is darkness for us. And we cannot see the ultraviolet light. When you go out in the summer, you will find they say because of the UV radiation, your skin gets burned. It's such a high, intense light. We cannot see it. It burns your skin. You may get skin cancer because of that. But that light is not visible. That's the ultraviolet. Both are darkness to me. But are both alike? They're just poles apart. One is very, this ultraviolet is having intense wavelength, and infrared has a very weak wavelength, very feeble wavelength. They're just extremely opposite, but they look alike. Why Swamiji is giving that example? In our life, When because of some inescapable trauma in our life, we develop we develop that learned helplessness. We have discussed in the last class, we gave that example, that an elephant is tied when it is small, it's a baby. To domesticate that elephant, what is done? Its leg is tied with a strong iron chain. It uses its entire strength to get rid of it. It cannot. Now a learned helplessness develops. That there is no use in just trying to get rid of this bondage. Now, when the elephant has grown up, you will find it's very easy to keep it calm and quiet. That it won't try at all to get rid of the bondage. The owner of the elephant, what it has done, has just tied one of the leg with a very weak rope. But now it has developed the learned helplessness. Oh, however, I may try, I cannot get rid of it. Though just a single kick, a single push, a single thrust will enable it to get rid of the bondage, but it has developed that learned helplessness. Why? Because of some inescapable trauma in his or in that elephant's life at certain phase. That has developed into learned helplessness. And that in turn develops into what? That learned helplessness, a defeatist attitude. And now they won't try anything. And that is something which our scripture says is a tamasic state. Can you equate it with the one who is established in the self? The one who is really established in the self. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, are you established in the self? The simplest proof is you take a thorn and prick yourself. If you really cry out of pain, then what is the utility of saying that I am Brahman? It is not your realization. It is just something which you are speaking out. As he used to say, that you may go on saying that you are Brahman, but even a small thorn, the prick of a small thorn hurts you. Then how come you are the Brahman? There are persons who has gone beyond that. In their life, I will just give an example. One of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna Swami, Turiyananda, he developed various ulcers on his back. There was carbuncles on his back. And when the doctors told that you have to be operated, at last he agreed. Now, before operation, when they were suggesting for the general anesthesia, he vehemently denied. The doctors told him, how can we operate? We cannot operate on you. He told, the moment you're going to operate, just 10-15 minutes before that, you just come and mention me, indicate me that in another 10-15 minutes, we are going to start our operation. The doctors were astonished. The operation was done without any anesthesia. It's written in our history, Swami Turiyananda. It's no miracle. They have developed. Then is it something like that? Spirituality is something like anesthesia? No. He was aware of the pain. But only thing what he has done, that he has developed that attitude, which has become internalized, that pain is not mine. It is of the body mind. I am just seeing it. It is the tremendous awareness which enables. That's why he has asked for the time. He prepared himself and he can totally bear with it. It's not that sometimes we think that spirituality will help us to develop a type of anesthesia, that all the things will happen, it won't affect me. Then what is the difference between a vegetable and a realized soul? That's what Swamiji is indicating. It's a veggie doesn't feel any pain. So is spirituality going to just make us, instead of evolving, is just to involve us into a vegetable, just like a veggie feeling not pains and pleasures? No, it's there. But I have detached myself. So that's the idea. Is the one who has detached himself and totally, non-resistance to the pleasures and pain of life. The one who is established there is his condition, and the one who has developed that learned helplessness and has developed a defeatist attitude and doesn't act. Apparently, they appear the same. Both are not resisting the evil, but they are poles apart. Can you say both the same? That's what he's saying. When the vibrations of light are too slow, we do not see them, nor do we see them when they're too rapid. So with sound, when very low in when very low in pitch, we do not hear it. When very high, we do not hear it either. So we also know that there's infrasonic sound and the ultrasonic sound. That you know that the supersonic planes, they are never allowed to land in the airports which are in the residential area. That's why generally the airports are outside the residential area. Why? The supersonic planes, when they land, you won't hear the sound, but suddenly you will find your window panes are vibrating. If your glass utensils are kept together, they are vibrating, and the vibration can be so strong that the glass can crack, it can break, but there is no sound you hear. That is supersonic, and a very weak, feeble sound below 20 hertz. That also I don't hear. And the supersonic sound, which is above 20,000 hertz, that also I don't hear. Both are inaudible, but they are again poles apart. They apparently look alike, but they're poles apart, just like the one who is established in Tamasikata and in real Sattva. They're poles apart, but they look alike. So of this nature is of like nature is the difference between resistance and non-resistance. How nicely Swamiji is really analyzing the human psyche. One man does not resist because he is weak, lazy, and cannot, not because he will not. The other man knows that he can strike an irresistible blow if he likes. Yet, he not only does not strike, but blesses his enemies. Swamiji, you will remember that he is actually addressing the Western audience. Though he's not taking the name of Jesus, he's actually citing the example of Jesus. When he was crucified, it is Satan, as has been mentioned in the Bible. Satan comes in the disguise of a snake and then warns and just says that you have to go through a tremendous pain. Still time is there, run away. Jesus could have ran away, but he is the one who is the incarnation of the divine. He's established in the self. He knows there's a higher purpose in his crucifixion. He is in no way running away from the situation. And then he goes through all those ordeals without any resistance. When he's crucified, for a moment, weakness comes. That shows the human nature even in an avatar. Oh God, have you forsaken me? Just for a moment it comes, and the very next moment we find the cloud has vanished. He is praying for the one who are persecuting him. Oh Lord, they don't know what they're doing. Please forgive them. And that has made the Jesus why the entire Christianity is established in the crucifixion of the Christ. Because that moment actually proves that what he is. He's really established that all the pains he can easily transcend. It is not that the pains are not there. He would not have been God if he would have resisted the pain and there's just conquered his enemy. That would have not proven his greatness. What is proving his greatness? His blessing. He's not resisting, but his blessing. He has that power. He's established in that situation. And now that makes him the Son of God, the divine incarnation. And that's what he's indicating. He can bless the enemy in that state. There is no sense of curse. There is no curse coming out. It is blessing. And that is the real non-resistance. He can practice, not the one who has yet to be established in that state. For them, resistance is the ideal. If we don't have that sense of resistance before we reach that state, the entire social network which God has created, you cannot deny it. It's not your creation. When I was born, I'm already placed in it. There's some higher purpose for which I'm created. Till I go to that state, I have to be a part of it where resistance is my ideal. I have to resist. Not before that. Then if I do before that, the entire social structure breaks off. Not only that, individually I will feel I have done something wrong. You can never feel, the conscience will never say you. There will be constant prick of conscience. Constant. that something wrong I have done. Conscience is something which I can never just throttle the neck of conscience. It is always there. That is the proof of something which is God has implanted in us to make us do the thing which we are supposed to do. So never we should in our life uh, try to ignore the voice of conscience. That at a present situation, what's the thing I am supposed to do, that's what the conscience speaks out. It may not be the same of what the realized soul is supposed to do. In no way I am going to imitate him. I have to evolve up to the state where he is. Just by imitating, you cannot do that. You have to evolve yourself. For that, you have to overhaul your personality. For that, which speaks of the sadhana is that what he is doing to really be up to it, that's the sadhana. And for that, just by imitating what he is doing, there cannot be, that imitation is a shortcut. It's a shortcut of befooling us. It's in no way the way, it's in no way the path to really reach that ultimate goal. So the one who from weakness resists, the one who from weakness resists not commits a sin. Because of weakness, he is not resisting, he is committing a sin. And as such, cannot receive any benefit from non-resistance. While the other would commit a sin by offering resistance. You can never imagine that Buddha or Christ are resisting. Impossible. As in the last class, we gave some indication, most probably if you remember, Shankaracharya. We say that the divine always comes with a plan. If really they come with a plan, then how come when a Tantrika asks Shankaracharya that I am just going to perform certain rites in which a human being has to be sacrificed. And the more evolved the human being is spiritually, the more merits I get. So now you are a highly evolved soul. If I sacrifice you, I am going to get tremendous merit. Will you allow me to sacrifice you? Yeah, will you allow me to sacrifice you? Immediately Shankaracharya agrees. If really the Avatara has a plan, then how can he allow his life to be terminated at a particular time? No. Even Avatara, the divine incarnation, is as if a part of the higher divine plan. We find that he has already agreed. It's his disciple who comes to the rescue. So they will find what's the thing there? There is no resistance. Because they know nothing can kill me. The real me can never be annihilated. So they are established in that. For them, there is no sense of, any type of loss. There is no sense of loss. They know nothing can annihilate me. They are just going with the flow, with least sense of resistance. So they are established in such a sense, such a high spiritual awareness. For them, the sensitivity becomes just like the sensitivity of the eyeball. When a mosquito is biting me, my reflex will take my other hand and just hit it, and it dies. And we never feel any pain for it. But the more you become established in that nature, you know that your nature changes, your sensitivity changes. How it changes? In the life of Ramakrishna, you will find if someone was walking on the grass, he says, when I was established in that state, I could never bear seeing anyone walking on the grass. I felt someone is as if trampling on my chest. When the ego boundary falls off, you become one with the entire creation. Now our sense of I is limited. The boundary is the skin. Anything beyond the skin is not me. Anything within the skin is me. There's a boundary. There's a local consciousness. When you get established, that from the realization comes, it's no more an intellectual conviction, it's a realization. The first thing that happens, the first sign that is exhibited through that type of life is that ego boundary is no more there. It has vanished. And that's why you will find when Swami Vivekananda was traveling and someone asked Swami Turiyananda, he suddenly met him and asked, well, Naren, do you feel that you are evolving spiritually? His answer was wonderful. He told, oh, Hari, this Turiyanandaji's nickname was Hari Bhai. Oh, Hari Bhai, I understand nothing of your conventional religion. But one thing from the bottom of my heart, I realize. What's that? That my heart has become very, very sensitive. It really feels others' pain. So what happens, to such a person? That there's an ego boundary has fallen off. You have become one with the entire world. And for them, offering resistance is almost impossible. You may say, how? Why? Very nicely, one example is there in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam, very nicely they have actually explained the situation, the mental condition of such a person. In Bhagavatam, in one sloka, they say that what their attitude is, with whom should thou be angry for causing pain if accidentally thou bite the tongue with thy teeth? So while taking food, it happens with all of us that we accidentally bit our tongue with our own teeth. Whom do you blame? So what a wonderful example. When the sense of oneness comes with the entire existence, when the teeth is also you, when the tongue is also you, whom do you blame? It just happens. It has accident. There is no resistance. There is no sense of revenge. Do you have a sense of revenge? Does the tongue have a sense of revenge for the teeth? No. There's both the part of the same existence. There is no one to be blamed. So in that situation, there is no question of resisting the evil. So they feel it's like committing a sin by offering resistance. So for them, non-resistance is ideal. So non-resistance is the highest ideal. The scripture has told us, but we have to be up to it to practice. Otherwise, we will be fooling ourselves. In no way will we be progressing spiritually, and neither we will be helping the social structure, the structure of the entire existence, which is there because of some higher plan. You may name it as God, you may name it in any name you may like. It is there because of a higher plan. So neither abhyudaya nor nishreyasa. Nothing happens. So that's what Swamiji is indicating. So till we go to that state, not resisting is a sin. And when I reach that state, resisting is a sin. Buddha gave up his throne and renounced his position. That was true renunciation. But there cannot be any question of renunciation in the case of a beggar who has nothing to renounce. As simple as that. You have to be up to renounce something. You have to have something to renounce. If you have nothing, what can you renounce? So we must always be careful about what we really mean when we speak of this non-resistance and ideal love. We must first take care to understand whether we have the power of resistance or not. Then, having the power, if we renounce it and do not resist, we are doing a grand act of love. But if we cannot resist and yet at the same time try to deceive ourselves into the belief that we are actuated by motives of the highest love, how pinpointed the words of Swamiji's are. It's really, you'll find that's the Swamiji's words are so forceful. We are doing the exact opposite. Arjuna became a coward at the sight of the mighty array against him. His love, this love is in the inverted commas. This love is not the real love. It is an infatuation. That's why it is in the inverted commas. His love made him forget his duty towards his country and king. That is why Sri Krishna told him that he was a hypocrite. Thou talkest like a wise man, but thy actions betray thee. To be a coward, therefore stand up and fight. That aswachyan anya sochastvam pragyavadangscha bhasase. That you're speaking like a wise man, but your actions betray thee to be a coward. That's what in Bhagavad Gita. So the Krishna is admonishing Arjuna with those words. Such is the central idea of Karma Yoga. Actually, enter Karma Yoga. If we really try to study it between the lines, you will find it is a wonderful commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, that small booklet. How nicely he is uh, bringing the ideas of the Bhagavad Gita, coalescing all those ideas to bring out the wonderful philosophy of Karma Yoga out of it, such as the central idea of Karma Yoga. The Karma Yogi is the man who understands that the highest ideal is non resistance, and who also knows that this non resistance is the highest manifestation of power in actual possession, and also what is called the resisting of evil is but a step on the way towards the manifestation of that highest power. We cannot imitate. We have to go through the resistance to develop that faculty, that a time will come when non-resistance will become spontaneous. We have evolved. You cannot just imitate it. So you have to step it through the resistance. So namely non-resistance. Before reaching this highest ideal, man's duty is to resist evil. Let him work, let him fight, let him strike straight from the shoulder. Then only when he has gained the power to resist will non-resistance be a virtue. As in the last class, we indicated, again we indicate comprehensively. Actually, Swamiji is, when he's saying these lines, the entire history of the motherland from where he came, the India which he represents, the entire history of the nation is in his mind. What has happened? As we indicated, the Vedic society was the ideal society, where we had the idea of Chatur Varna, Chatur Asrama, 4 ashramas. What are the 4 ashramas? This Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. We had that idea. The gradation of the ashramas. The word ashrama is very interesting. In the Vedic society, there was no concept of retirement. There was no retirement. Only a type of endeavor changes. If the word ashrama, you know what's the meaning? Srama means endeavor. The prefix a is there to give a sense that endeavor without any relaxation. From the beginning till the end, you are having endeavor. You know that word a in Sanskrit is used in the sense of encompassment. Like Nanda means happiness, but what we say Ananda means from the very beginning till the end. Everything, total there is happiness. So a sense of encompassment is used with the word a. That like to give a sense of the idea of the integrated India. It was there in the past. In the Kalidas literature, you will find the word A Samudra Himachala, the land which is encompassed from the ocean till the Himalayas. A Samudra Himachala. So this A prefix is used with the sense of encompassment. Now the asrama means what? Srama means endeavor. The A prefix means the endeavor which has no relaxation. From the beginning to the end, it is full of srama. So all these 4 states of life have srama. There is no retirement. And that srama also have no relaxation. You go on endeavoring. Only the type of endeavor changes. There's no retirement. And then again, there's a question of purusharthas, 4 purusharthas. The Veda is never saying that moksha is the only goal of life. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These 4 purusharthas are there. As a brahmachari, forget about other purusharthas. Dharma is the only purushartha for a brahmachari. What's the dharma? Dharma means that which sustains us. So it's not mere academic education. It actually means the internalization of the values. That when in my future, when as a responsible householder, I have to perform certain duties, I shouldn't be lured by the temptations. I should have an integrated personality. For that, the dharma is there to internalize those values. That's the real idea of a student. The student is that what the mere academic education, what the knowledge which he has just simply memorized, that doesn't actually speaks of the real education. Real education is dharma, dharayate, that will help to sustain you. You internalize the values. Now with that, I now enter the state of grihastha. Now, as a grihastha, that's the state of ashrama, the second ashrama. I have to endeavor. Endeavor for what? Now also you forget about moksha. Think of artha and kama, the other 2 parasites. But the dharma should guide you, that I shouldn't uh, try for acquiring wealth by unfair means. I shouldn't go for this sensate pleasures of life in a licentious way. Yes, I have the right for the pleasures of life, sensate pleasures of life. Karma is quite good, artha is quite good, but do it with the dharma on the background. This will enable you to keep your personality integrated. Otherwise, what happens? The external factors become so overwhelming that you can never think of higher values of life. So with the integrity, if you pursue your life, a stage will come where you will find you have reached a plateau. I have the wealth, I have all the pleasures of life, but after that, what to do with the life? Does the life means just to have a little good eating, drinking, and then death comes, everything is over? The man is such a being who can never throttle that higher purpose of life. It is bound to come. It is bound to come when we just really lead an integrated life with the pursuit for the pleasures as well as for the wealth. It's all okay. And then gradually, when the higher values come, you enter the state of vanaprastha, sannyasa. So gradually, you are evolving. So it was a wonderful social setup. But what happened gradually in the post-Vedic era? Somehow the idea crept in that moksha is the only ideal. As a result, what happened? That you will find the social structure has got stagnated. The villages in the India are in a suspended animation. Just if you want to know what India was like thousands of years back, you go to the Indian village. Almost it has not changed. Now, of course, the things are changing, but it was there even till the last in the 50 years back. You will find that if you want to know the India 1,000 years back, it was just the same. No change. That's one thing. The social stagnation, this entire society was in a suspended animation. Abhyudaya stopped. The same land, which is known as Bharata, because it was Bharata. The word Bharata is very, very important. The society which is Rata, which is engaged in Bha. Bha means light. Bha means knowledge. It's the same Vedic society where you will find, where we discovered the decimal system, which is the basic of mathematics now also. It is we who thought of zero. It is we who thought of all the astrological advancements. And there's Aryabhatta. Shushruta was there of the surgery. So you will find that is a wonderful society where the knowledge was manifesting in all the fields. We still have the iron pillar, which has not even developed a little tinge of rust. All those science was developing, everything was developing because artha, kama, everything was considered as the goal. That society stagnated after some time when moksha was the only goal. That those pursuits are of no use. Society became stagnated. It was in a suspended animation. Not only that, as the entire population is not up to the mark to really pursue for the moksha, in the name of religion, you will find even in the present day, all sorts of superstitions, all sorts of wrong practices, to name a few, the Vamachara, the Tantrika, the negative sides of the Tantrika practices, all developed, crept into the religion, because as I'm not up to the ideal, I pull down the ideal, and all sorts of wrong practices, evil practices in the name of religion prevailed in that land, where even in the present we will find there are many who profess all those beliefs and will try to spiritualize with all sorts of spiritual ideals. But in reality, it's all something, it shows our weakness that as I cannot live that life to that highest ideal, I pull down the ideal to the level where I am. So that's the history of thousands of years. All the invasions happened. We had no power to protect ourselves. One after one, there was invasion. The nation was under the foreign rule for 1,000 years. What happened? That where was the progress gone in the name of religion? So that's the Swamiji is trying to indicate in this life, that unless you have evolved to that ideal, practicing non-resistance is in no way going to help in the social evolution, abhyudaya, neither it is going to help you spiritually. It is in the name of religion, all sorts of evil practices creeps in. You will find all sorts of madman, mentally disengaged persons are there in the name of religion. So many are there that they're even simple. They cannot think in a very simple, positive way. Somehow the thought process has been totally deranged because as they're not up to the ideal, they have tried to pull down the ideal. Everything has got distorted. They're physically they are weak. Mentally, there are a lot of distortions have come in. So that's why Swamiji in this paragraph, as a this conclusion to the discussion which has already done in the previous preceding paragraphs, he's saying that we have to evolve. So let me just read this paragraph once more and then stop the discussion for today. Such is the central idea of Karma Yoga. The Karma Yogi is the man who understands that the highest ideal is non-resistance, and who also knows that this non-resistance is the highest manifestation of power in actual position, and also what is called the resisting of evil is but a step. It is a step on the way towards manifestation of the highest power, namely non-resistance. Before reaching the highest ideal, man's duty is to resist evil. Let him work, let him fight, let him strike straight from the shoulder. Then only, when he has gained that power to resist, will non-resistance be a virtue. So with this, we stop our discussion today. We will continue with the succeeding paragraphs in the next class.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji, for a very lucid explanation of the varnas and the arthas and the systems. Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Namaskar. Namaskar. I'm just
Pranam Nevan.
Namaskar.
Swamiji.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you, Swamiji.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, Swamiji.
Namaskar.